Hey, so it is Friday, February 10th, 2023. I'm just doing another entry here. Last time I was kind of chatting through some improvements I wanted to make around sort of my productivity and what I was able to focus on. So if I just recap over the last week, this kind of pattern, I guess, has been pretty similar to the weeks prior, but I've been able to I guess I'm trying to get in the groove of publishing content to social media like very, very regularly. And that's gonna mean that I'm not doing like a full length YouTube video every day or something like that, but I want to have a minimum of like a good full length video once per week, and then using that as material for shorts and shorter content that I can post up. So that's been going pretty well. I'm quite happy about that. I'm still working with Jamal on videos and things like that, but I'm also kind of dabbling myself in some of the editing because there's some types of videos I feel based on his experience in programming, which is pretty limited. It's not his fault or anything. It's like we kind of got into this together so that I could help him with that. He could help me with video. There's going to be some concepts where if I don't film it like perfectly, I guess, and I don't say or and pause and stuff like that, and if I get my code all perfect, then he'd have an easy time. But there's going to be situations where I'm pausing to think about what I'm showing and stuff like that, and perhaps slightly irrelevant content that needs to be cleaned up in the videos that he's not totally going to get. And like I said, not his fault. So some of that kind of stuff I'm trying to take on a little bit too, which has been interesting because I have zero experience with video editing. I've already messed up, and I'm not editing these ones. So it's been kind of cool to try it out. It's super time consuming, so props to people that do that regularly. But there's some content I'm trying to actually edit myself. So that's been good. It's a learning process, but the the other aspects on top of that, right? So it's about coming up with the right content to create. I feel like at this point in my, I guess, a content creation journey, I I want to make sure that I'm just putting out useful content. It's not quite like super specific to these different areas and stuff. Like it's going to be about software engineering. It's going to be when it's coding time, it's going to be C sharp based, but I'm not getting into very specific parts about C sharp. I'm not diving into very specific things about software engineering. I just want to be able to establish like a base of content. And then when there's more followers and things like that, more people subscribe to the content that I'm putting out, try to tune that a little bit more, right? So if I have people that are following along and they really want to start hearing about specific parts of X or Y, then I can go focus on that and tailor the content. Until that happens, though, I feel like the content has to be searchable. I have to do a better job of making like clickable content, right? My thumbnails are absolute trash. And I should clarify that I had someone put together like a template for me for like a thumbnail, and I think they did an awesome job like kind of putting the graphic together, but because I have no experience with doing well on YouTube or anything like that, it's been a learning process for what's going to make people click. um, Tons of information about their online about it. I didn't realize it was like such a science, I guess, but I'm gonna say this on camera, but I probably will get some facial expressions and stuff on thumbnails because I think that that's um, for the most part like something that works really well. But I'm like quite against doing like every thumbnail's a super surprised face because like let's be real here. If I'm gonna be sharing content about programming, not everything is going to be so if I'm like, hey, how do you debug a C sharp program? And the picture is like me going, like, no, it's not. It's ridiculous. But will I start putting facial expressions on thumbnails? Probably. From what I've been hearing, even like subconsciously as humans, like we almost like pause on things that have faces because we want to like do some type of recognition there. I don't know enough about that, but this is something I heard, so maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Seems to work that way. So I got to do a better job there. But in general, I want to make sure that I just have content that over the next year or so that there's enough of it going out, people will come across it, and I'm not certainly not a person that's going to be viral for the content I'm creating. It's not going to happen like that. And if I do end up getting a larger subscriber base, that's going to come over time. Okay, so that's sort of on the content side of things. I'm chipping away at that. It's taking a lot of time, so I want to ensure that I can optimize some of that process. So just another quick note on this before I get into some other topics. Trying to find ways that like when I go to post content, just to give you an example, I want to post a short for the day. Um, I sort of like syndicate. I put my content out across all these different platforms, but what I don't want to do is like redo it every time I publish it. So, for example, currently, I hope they fix this, YouTube Shorts on Android, I can't attach music to it. If I do, it completely disables all my recorded sound. So, you either get me talking or you get music. And if the content in the video is me trying to explain something, you're not getting music then. So when I post a short to YouTube, I have to go make that and not put music. When I put it through Instagram, I'm going to attach music and I can double that up with Facebook. So that's a free one. But I'm already, okay, that's twice. Now I go to put it on TikTok and I don't want to have issues with the audio. So again, it's a third time I'm submitting basically the same thing. Then I go blast it out to other social media channels. And what I was doing is re-uploading the videos to those. And then I just started saying, you know what, like maybe it's better I just like take a bit of a shortcut, link out to the other content, some hashtags and stuff, whatever. So the point here though is that for the pieces that I have to repeat, I want to try seeing if I can do a bit of a I don't know, something that's a bit templated so I can write a post, say for LinkedIn, it's probably the spot that LinkedIn and Patreon are probably the spots where I'm putting the longest form posts. So if I go to do that, can I can I have a variation where I can like beside it I can write up like a short version of it and then just kind of use those two templates across the different platforms. So that's something I'm thinking about just to save time. Because if I do it every day and it's me, I'm not paying someone to do this. It takes up my time. I don't make money from this, so it's just literally chewing up time. Okay, so that's the content creation stuff. On some of my own projects and things like that, I mentioned last time I wanted to dedicate more time to meal coach. We had a good conversation this week asynchronously and just trying to come up with like next steps that we're aligned to. So what's been really good is I think from like a workflow perspective, we're really nailing some things down that we're happy with. It sounds kind of funny to say this, but it's like an area of expertise that we have in the group um, for being able to build workflows that are intuitive for complex things. That sounds really generic, but uh, you know, basically whatever's under the hood could be something that's very complex, and we have experience basically putting a workflow together that uh, users that have no understanding of some of those concepts should be able to navigate and not get lost. So that's a skill we can lean into. We've had good conversations about that, but when it comes to actually coding stuff, I only did a little bit this week. I'm hoping I can do some more this weekend. Um, and I would argue in this case, it's not because I couldn't make time for it. It's because like based on our conversation, the like I'm doing a lot of the back end work. I could put some APIs in place, but I actually don't know what kind of data we need to have coming back and forth yet. So I might just whip up like a something on that new API I created that is able to fetch at least kind of plumb through like fetching a DTO from a MongoDB database and writing it there as well. And then as that DTO, that data transfer object changes, I'll just update it. But I might do that just so it kind of works like all the way through the database layer. But because I don't know what content or what data has to be stamped into that, I can't go too far yet. So anyway, I want to get some clarity on that, and then I'll probably chip away at that. Maybe I'll make a video on doing that. Um, we'll see. And yeah, otherwise, I think things are pretty good. It's another content thing, but for blogging and stuff like that, I'm trying to come up with um, I did get some feedback on blog posts already from people, which is cool because on the video side, nothing's caught on yet, but I've had some pretty good success with blogs getting reposted and then people coming through and offering opinions and perspectives. So it's really neat because I find it's pretty common in like software engineering. You have very smart people that are very opinionated, and that can be a nightmare for comments and stuff depending on what people are like. But so far, so good. People have been pretty receptive, and when they're sharing feedback, again, this is so far, they're sharing feedback saying like, hey, like I disagree, like what about this way? Or not even that they disagree, but just like, have you considered trying it doing, X instead of Y? Because I think that that's better. And it's cool, like great, I'll respond to that. And along the way, it's given me some ideas actually where I realized some of the content I created in one particular case for um, handling async void. I centered that content around event handlers a lot in C sharp. And what was interesting is that in hindsight, I feel kind of stupid for it, but like the async void for event handlers is the example that I was using and sort of the basis for why I went down this path. But the point was not to be so focused on event handlers. It was really just to show you that you can use async void and actually use a bit of C sharp magic to like not have it totally uh, screw up your program. And I thought that was super neat. So that was like, that's what I wanted to convey. But it seems like anyone who's commenting is being like, I think you could do something better for event handlers than this. And I'm reading the comments and I'm like, yeah, like I don't disagree with you. It's just not what I intended the article to try and convey. So the point there is that that's good feedback. And now I'm putting together a couple more articles and some demo code to show people like, hey, if you don't want to do that, cool. Because it's a little bit gnarly, I agree. But here's a couple other things you could try that are very simple and straightforward. So that's been the point there is just to say that the comments on the blogs have been something that I can start driving content change. And as I mentioned earlier in this recording, I do want to make sure that I can do that with video. It's just that I don't have enough people engaging on in videos. Um, I mean, I think my mom is the one who's like commenting and liking stuff, and another buddy's brother as well. So that's been nice. But I'm gonna have to build my subscriber base up and have people that have opinions about what I'm putting out and responding to that. So I think that's it for today. Um, with respect to the week coming up, I think same goals. I'm hoping, like I said, that this weekend I can do some more meal coach work. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.